Welcome back to the sixth and final session of JA It's My Business. This activity is entitled Celebrate Entrepreneurs, where the students are really going to get the opportunity to really think about the importance of believing in yourself when you're an entrepreneur. The start up for this activity is going to be an icebreaker where the students all receive a profile card that's provided in the curriculum kit. So there are profile cards provided, and you're going to want to tear these apart before you go into the classroom. I would consider making sure that you put the female cards together and the male cards together and handing a guy card and a lady card so that you have not a gender mix for that. If for some reason you don't have enough of the appropriate card, you can choose what you would like to do, but you could always have some of the students team up to use that one profile card if needed. The other thing you will notice is that there are 24 cards that have specific entrepreneurs listed, and the 8 remaining cards are blank. This encourages you to list some local entrepreneurs that you could highlight from your local area. What you'll notice is that we have provided some additional entrepreneur cards on our website at jasd.org that you can utilize if you do have a large class, more than 24 students, and you would like to print some additional profiles so everybody has a different entrepreneur. You can do that as well. There's lots of flexibility, so make sure that you work with your classroom teacher to see what would work best for you. One fun thing that I do to make this a little bit more interaction than what the book says is I turn this into a mixer. So often as adults we go to awards banquets, we go to chamber mixers, we go to trainings, we go to lots of things where we're meeting new people. And I really feel personally it's a very important skill to know how to properly introduce yourself. So what I encourage my students to do is I take just a few minutes to talk about a proper introduction, and I also talk to the students about the importance of a good firm handshake and looking people in the eye. So once I hand out my profile cards, I give the students 3 to 5 minutes to just mill around the room as though they are this person. So first I give them a few minutes just to read it, and then I have them go and introduce themselves as that person and share some of those key characteristics of that entrepreneur. It's just kind of a fun way to make it a little bit more interactive. The next thing that you can do is talk about, again, the social entrepreneurs that we had talked about in the previous activity. So have the students look at their card and consider whether their entrepreneur was a social entrepreneur. And if they were, they can raise their hand and share just a little bit about that entrepreneur. A couple of the other things that might be important are to really highlight to the students how many of these entrepreneurs that are highlighted are young. And so again, ask the students to raise their hand if they have an entrepreneur who is really young. And that's a great way to illustrate that every one of them is capable of achieving his or her goal, especially when they have a dream. So just make sure that you highlight some of those key characteristics of some of those entrepreneurs. Depending upon the time that you have in the classroom, there are also some bullet points on the top of page 46 that really walk you through the opportunity of having the students share how he or she is like the selected entrepreneur on their card. Again, if you have all the students share, it will take a lot of time, so you might want to consider just having a couple students share so that you can do that portion of the activity but in a limited time frame. The actual activity after that introduction is to have the students consider their own profile. And so this time you do need to use the journals as part of the activity. And what the students are going to do is they are going to open this up and they are going to get the opportunity to write out their current profile. So today, as a middle school student, what does their profile look like? Again, you can walk them through each step of the way if you would like, or you can turn the learning over to them and kind of let them pace themselves. The first thing you're going to want to do is have them look at this My Life Now profile card section and have them write out each of those answers to those bulleted ideas. Then you'll notice that there is an opportunity on the back to put their future life. Once again, they can follow those bulleted points on the bottom of that inside journal page, or what a fun idea is to have them design their future business card. They can still add some of those key components into it, but having them change it up just a little bit by writing in their business card or making a business card can be a lot of fun for the students as well. You might want to bring in your business card to give them as an example as you talk a little bit about that. Again, depending upon your time, you can have the students share some of their ideas and what they hope to be in their future. One thing you'll notice that there is a section called optional exercises that you can consider doing before the students jump into this activity. It's just to get their juices flowing and to get them to be creative. The first one is a little scenario of visualization that you can read this paragraph and have the students close their eyes and have them visualize what they see in the end of the scenario and have some of the students share. The other thing to get the students to think outside the box is to have them change their mindset. Ask them to switch the hand in which they're writing, or have them take off their shoes and put them back on in an order that's not comfortable for them. Or even to have them switch, if they have bracelets or watches on, have them switch arms so that it just feels a little bit different. Just some great ideas to get them to think outside the box. So after the whole activity is completed, you can once again spend a few minutes during the learning challenge if you would like. If you do use the learning challenge, don't forget that you need to provide the students with a scrap piece of paper, or ask them to have a scrap piece of paper if there's one available. They can spend 3 minutes listing all the ways that their personal entrepreneur profile card related to the 4 characteristics. So think back to that opening exercise of what their entrepreneur card, who that person was, and how they fit those characteristics. If you do the think tank, this will be your final opportunity to really wrap up that brainstorm with the students, so feel free to do that. And then you'll notice there's also a summary and review for the content learning portion of this activity. As always, we encourage you to take the last 5 minutes or so of class to do a graduation with the students. It's a great way to highlight the success of the time that you've had with the students. I always like to talk to the students about the things I specifically liked about their engagement in the program, how successful I feel they're going to be in their future. And I always tell them, you know what, in your future, you are going to receive awards, you're going to get scholarships, and ultimately, you're going to be walking across the stage getting that high school diploma. So I always pull a student up to role play with me, a good firm handshake. I always talk to the students about a good V to V, a good firm handshake, not to be a super squeezer, not to be a dead limp fish, not to rip my arm off, but just how to have a good, average, firm handshake. Then I always talk to them about how to receive an award with that. So again, you receive over, you shake under. I often look at you, we look you in the eye, I say congratulations, you say thank you, and then they can move along their way. It's a great way to end the program with just a little bit of a celebration as to all the time that you've been able to spend together. Enjoy the session.